Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of I Do Everyday Automation, where we talk about home automation projects to make your home smarter and your life easier. Today, I want to give you a quick history lesson or more like a current events lesson. So I was doing some work somewhere. I won't say, whether it was company or individual or why, but basically there was an existing uh, cloud-based NVR system, network video recorder, as we discussed in the last video, which had 8 cameras attached to it. There were 3 additional cameras from a pre-existing system. Everything was IP based. So it should have been simple. I grabbed a PoE switch, got it installed and configured for their network, plugged in the 3 cameras. The 3 cameras came up. Go into the NVR system to add the 3 additional cameras. They show up. When I go to click add this device, I get a message on the screen. And the message basically states that you must have additional software licenses to add any additional cameras. So at this point, they are pretty much going to have to pay a small fortune just to add 3 cameras that they already own. And here's one of my major problems with anything that's cloud-based, or you have to pay a subscription fee like Ring and some other services. It's in their best interest to charge you for anything you add to the ecosystem. That could be a costly problem, especially if you are someone like myself and you want to add, cameras pretty much to see everything, including like the cars in your garage. I actually already had 2 videos recorded prior to this, but upon stumbling upon this little uh, hiccup, if you will, I thought, maybe I should rework that video on how to install cameras into the Blue Iris NVR software. So that's what we're going to do today. In fact, I'm actually going to show you how easy it is to add cameras to the Blue Iris software and how to do it as cost efficiently as possible. Some people think you have to have the biggest, baddest cameras and the biggest, baddest network video recording system. That's just simply not true. There's a lot of options out there for consumers who are either on a budget, live in an apartment, or have some constraint that they can't just go, full Monty with, expensive $300-400 cameras or, a terabyte of cloud storage. In fact, here at my house, the reason I went with the Blue Iris software was because I have a pre-existing server. So I have about 4 terabytes of storage on the side to play with. And of course, since it's a server, it's more than capable of running the Blue Iris software. But for the average consumer, if you have a spare or old PC, or if you're into building like a Raspberry Pi and you want to put Linux on it and just attach a storage device like an external hard drive, that's perfectly fine. So today, I'm going to show you how to do a home surveillance system on a budget. All right, so today we're going to set up 3 cameras. 2 of them with Wi-Fi installed, but 1 of them I'm going to do hardwired. And we're also going to set up a webcam over the server in my little makeshift server room. And I'm also going to show you this cool wall mount I found to hold one of these small Wise cams that you can put in a real cool location. So let's get started. So the webcam is just a basic Logitech webcam. So I'm pretty sure most of you guys have seen something like this in the past. This Wise cam, however, I thought was pretty cool. I picked this up for about 30 bucks on Amazon, but I have seen them in places for as low as $20. So you get the accessories in here. You get the power cable, a weighted disc, power brick, and of course the camera. Has a little retractable base that you can kind of angle in different directions. And then this guy, the outlet wall mount holder. So I thought this was pretty cool, and I'm still going to keep it a surprise. It actually comes with a short cable just to plug it into the wall. Still going to keep it a surprise until we get to that part of the video showing you where I'm going to put this. And that's just it. It's basically a piece of plastic, but you'll see why this piece of plastic is so cool in just a bit. Alright, since the Wise cameras are Wi-Fi only, I just decided to add a 3rd camera into the mix, so we'll have 1 Wi-Fi, 1 hardwired, and 1 USB. This is the Winbook camera. I picked this up from Micro Center a while back. It's just a cheap baby monitor camera. These retail for I think about 20 bucks. Alright, so before we can hook up the Wise IP camera to the Blue Iris NVR software, we have to do a quick firmware update. So we're going to go to openip.cam and you're going to click on projects here right in the center. And it's going to take you to this GitHub page. You're going to click on clone or download. You're going to download the zip. I've already downloaded it and extracted it. So we're going to go to the folder where it's at. So you're going to go into OpenIPC Firmware Master. Double click there, and where it says firmware mod, we're going to go into that folder. And since we have the version 2 camera, I'm going to double click there. And you're going to want to copy everything in this folder location into the SD card area. So you're going to take your SD card and make sure it's blank and just paste those files onto there. And then we're going to do a couple of modifications real quick just to prep it to work with the RTSP protocol. So you're going to go into the config folder and you're going to right click on this WPA supplicant config.dist and you want to edit it with Notepad. Well, first we're going to make a quick change here. You're going to take the .dist out, so you're going to click on it to where you can rename it and then hit enter. And it's going to ask you, sure you want to save the change? Hit yes. And we're going to right click and we're going to hit open with. Oh, sorry. You're going to open it with your Notepad editor. And you're going to change the SSID name to whatever your Wi-Fi name is whenever you connect to it from other devices. All right. And then you're also going to, where it says PSK, that's where you're going to change the password secure key. And you're just going to hit save. And then you're going to want to open the HTTP password and hostname config files and change the information in those as well. And this is what's going to allow you to change your username and password whenever you log into the camera. You don't want to run around with the default information because this is the same that everybody else uses. So I've already changed mine in here from the default. And I changed the password as well. So now that all of that's saved to the SD card, we're ready to take the SD card out of the reader and put it in the camera. Okay, so while we have all the accessories out, I thought now would be a good time to show you guys something that I found pretty cool. So this right here is just a little piece of mounting adhesive that you can stick to this metal disc. And from there, this actually has a rare earth magnet in the bottom. And you can actually stick this on the wall or on any other device. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take the SD card and load it into the camera. I'm going to plug the USB cable into the wall. Okay, so now what you're going to want to do is make sure you hold down on this reset button. It has a little bit of a click to it. You're going to plug this into the back of the camera. And this little amber light's going to turn blue. Once that turns blue, you can just leave it there and let it sit while it does its programming. Okay, so now that that's done, we can go ahead and log into the camera. So this is going to be different for some people depending on what type of router you have, but since we have the Ubiquiti USG that I showed you guys in a previous video, we can actually see the newest device connected in the clients list. So let's take a look at that real quick. Alright, so if we sort by uptime on ours, we can see what connected recently, and that'll give us the IP address for the camera. As we can see, it has IP address 192.168.1.234, and it's only been connected for 1 minute and 35 seconds. So we're pretty confident that that would definitively be the camera. So let's go ahead and plug that IP address into the browser here and see what we get. So you're going to use the default username and password that is provided online, which is Defang and iSmart12. And here we can see the camera feed. Alright guys, and now for the secret location I wanted to show you guys where I wanted to mount this little camera bracket. So you're going to take the 1-foot cable that comes in the box with the camera bracket, plug it into the USB adapter. You're going to pass that through the bottom and plug it into the back of the camera. And you're just going to adjust the camera so you can slide it onto the little dock. Pull all your slack out if you're going to mount it flat like I am. And tuck the rest of the slack under the mount. And that's it. You're ready to plug it in. Alright. I mean, it doesn't really get simpler than that. And from here you can adjust it, if you want to, adjust it higher to catch more coverage of an area, or you like it low and discreet like that. You can also adjust, from side to side if you want to catch different angles. But I mean, that's pretty much it. It's pretty much low tech as far as getting it mounted. I think it looks clean. If you put other things around it, you can kind of hide it a little bit, and you can catch a pretty wide angle of what you're looking to catch. Since this camera is 1080p and does have the infrared lights to adjust for night mode, you can even see if somebody's sneaking in the kitchen at night to get snacks, like your kids or even, your spouse. So, all right, let's switch to the live feed on the laptop just to see what we can see here. All right, so at this point we have our camera set up, we have our USB camera plugged in, and we have our LAN connected camera set up as well. So we're gonna go ahead and jump on the server real quick, and we're going to install the cameras. All right, so at this point, we're gonna assume that you already have Blue Iris set up and configured and ready to accept cameras. There should be a link in the description to a video to set up Blue Iris from scratch. So we're gonna click on Add Camera. I'm just gonna call the first camera Kitchen. And we can leave that as Cam 1 for now. We're gonna say it's a network IP camera. This is a RTSP. Okay, so here we have to make a quick setting change. We have to change this to RTSP. And we'll hit Find and Inspect and see if it comes up. Okay, so it didn't come up in the camera discovery tool, which is not uncommon since we did have to do a little bit of device configuration on the back. So we'll go ahead and hit cancel, and since we know the IP address, we can go ahead and enter that in here. We know we changed the admin username and password. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and change our RTSP port to 8554. Alright, and as we can see, it actually found the camera on the RTSP port. Alright, we're going to set this video path to unicast like we were instructed to do in the instructions. And we're going to add the port number up here. Actually, I don't think we need it. Let's test without it first. We'll go ahead and hit OK. And we're going to go ahead and hit OK. And there we go. The kitchen camera's up. Alright, so now to add another camera. And we're going to call this one server room. And this one's a USB/analog camera since we have it hooked up directly to the server. And see, it pulled in the information, HD webcam C525. And we know this camera is 720p, so we're going to go ahead and adjust that resolution to 1280 to 720. And this one should be straightforward. This should be all we'd have to enable. Just make sure that audio is turned off on this one. And we're going to hit OK. And boom, that camera's up. I forgot to turn the light on in there, so this was a good test. Alright, so this was just for show. I'm going to adjust this thermometer. The whole reason I wanted this camera, this USB camera hooked up to the server, was so I could monitor in real time if the room was getting warm or not as the temperatures change, and I can adjust the thermostat that's blowing AC into the room. Alright, so I set up the third camera in one of the kids' rooms. They have a car. I'm just going to use it as a makeshift garage just to show you, you know, how you could set this up to monitor vehicles in your garage as well. So we're just going to call this camera garage. And it's still network IP based, even though this was hardwired and the previous one was wireless. So we're going to do a quick find and inspect. And that should be it right there. So we're going to go ahead and hit OK. I'm going to hit close. And we're going to go ahead and change the username and password. We're going to hit OK. And then we're going to hit OK. And boom, now we see my daughter's Tesla as well. So we have all three cameras up. We have our quote unquote garage camera, we have our server room, and we have our kitchen camera. And as you can see, these are three completely different types of cameras, all with varying quote unquote price ranges. None of them are over 50, 60 bucks. So all in all, if you already have your PC, the software is going to cost you about 60, 69 bucks, I believe, with tax. We bought three cameras for, let's just say 30 bucks a piece. So we're at about 120 bucks all in. And like I said, if you're in an apartment, this is a great solution because you can have one camera as a webcam that you can hook up to straight to the PC to see anything that's going on in one area. You can use this Wise camera in a multitude of locations, especially in any areas that you have high enough plugs where you can use the cradle that we bought on Amazon for like 12 bucks. And then you can use hardwired cameras like the winbook camera we purchased directly from Micro Center. So you do have all types of options here. And as I've shown here, you don't have to buy expensive cameras. The expensive cameras will work just as easily and pretty much the same way. They may give you some better image quality and some better nighttime quality, but for inside the house especially, you really don't need to spend a lot of money to get the quality you're looking for. So I hope you guys felt that this was informative and productive enough for you guys to use in your own home. So if you wanted to see something a little different, let me know down in the comments, of what I could do to make this a little more clear for you guys if it's not straightforward. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys learned something. If you like the video, make sure you give it a like down below and hit subscribe so you see when I drop more videos in the series. And we'll continue the next video with how to set up text message notifications and how to track objects in the NVR software with the little rectangular boxes that I showed you before. If you guys have any comments or feedback, make sure you leave it in the comment section down below. And everything we talked about in today's video, I'm going to try to make sure I add in the descriptions down below. So if there's something missing, just hit me up and let me know and I'll make sure I add it. Other than that, thanks you guys for joining and we'll see you guys on the next one.